guys, welcome to my beginner series of the 3 main powerlifting movements, squat, bench, and deadlift. We're gonna start with number 1, which is the barbell back squat. So a lot of this is gonna be, it depends. It depends what your strengths are and what you wanna exactly work on and your body type. So I'm gonna try to explain that as well as I can, but a lot of it is gonna be trial and error for you. So we're gonna start with the setup, all right? The first thing we do is a lot of people just think just about their legs in the squat, but actually the squat starts right when we grab the bar, okay? So when you get to the bar, you might say, how wide or narrow do I need to go? And this is where it goes, it depends. It depends how broad you are or how narrow you are, and also how you like to squat, how high or low the bar is. So a good way to start is to have your hands a little bit wider than shoulder width, okay? A couple inches below, or in front of the rings. So we're gonna grab here. Now we're not gonna just be all flimsy. You want to grab and bend the bar, and that is going to engage your lats right there, okay? So next we are going to go over how to get under the bar and exactly where we're gonna put the bar on our back. Okay guys, so where do you put the bar on your back? Is it high or low? You might have heard of high bar and low bar. That again, it depends, okay? Wherever you're stronger at and wherever you're more comfortable. Now, if you have the bar higher on your back, your hands will probably be a little bit narrower, okay? If the bar is lower on your back, your arms might be a little bit wider to kind of, keep that bar tight on your back. So it's gonna be one of those things you kind of have to play around with here. But you don't want the barbell right up on your neck, and you don't want it too far down where it's stressing your shoulders. So you'll have to find a good place for that. So I will show you kind of a good high bar position to start. We're gonna go right on the traps here. I'm pulling that bar down. I'm nice and tight here, okay? Standing up, it looks like this. And now lower bar, I'm gonna have to go a little bit wider to kind of give some space for some more mobility. Come in. A little bit lower. I'm pushing that bar into my back, engaging those lats, and that's gonna be low bar. All right, and later on I'm gonna be talking a little bit more about how you squat with a higher bar and a lower bar, but you know what guys, we can just start with mid bar. That's totally okay, and some people might just fall into that place anyway. So I'll show you kind of where I like to squat actually, is somewhere in between here. And that's where I feel the tightest, okay? But how do you get under the bar? That's what we're gonna go over next. All right, guys. So when we get under the bar, we wanna make a nice shelf for the bar, okay? The bar's just not up there like waving around. We mean nice and tight in the upper body. I know I'm talking so much about upper body right now, but that's where it all starts when you're grabbing the bar. So this is how we're gonna set up and get under the bar. You're gonna wanna wedge and create tension, okay? So we're gonna grab the bar, get those lats tight like we did before, come under the bar, and then squeeze those lats, dragging those elbows under, okay? Like you're doing a lat pull down. You can even pull the bar into your back, like so. All right, so next, now that we did the setup, we're actually gonna go over how to walk the barbell out and do the squat. All right guys, so we're about to walk out some weight. We're about to put this heavy bar on our backs, and we gotta walk it out efficiently and safely, all right? This is another thing that a lot of beginners don't really think of at first. They just are mostly just rushing to do the squat part. So when you walk out, we're gonna get nice and tight like I just showed you, get under. We aren't gonna have staggered feet like this. We wanna stack the bar like we would when we do a squat, okay? Big brace, stand up, squeeze your butt, all right? We're gonna take 1 to 3 steps out. So 1, 2, and the third might be just a little bit of adjustment, all right? Now the bar is stacked nicely over our full body. Our glutes are nice and squeezed, our lats are tight, and we're nice and stable to squat. Something I see a lot of newer lifters do is they come out and they're bouncy, their hips are shifty. We wanna keep our hips as square as possible, and that's why we're braced, and we do short little steps and stay nice and tight, okay? So this brings us to the question, where are we walking to? Are we nice and narrow? Are you way wide like this? So that's what we're going over next. So where are we putting our feet here? That's another, it depends, but I'm gonna go through a wider stance and a more narrow stance. So we're gonna come over to the bar. First gonna do a more narrow stance. Okay, we're gonna come up just like I just told you. step, step, and this is pretty narrow for me. Now when you're more narrow, your toes might be a little bit more forward, you might have some squat shoes on, and we're gonna squat. So with a more narrow stance, the bar might be a little bit higher on your back, okay? It's a little more quad dominant movement, and we're gonna really break with the knees a little bit more. So when you squat, you're gonna break with the knees and the hips, but it's gonna be a little bit more knee dominant. Your knees might track over your toes a little bit more, okay? So knees and hips at the same time, we come down and up. So that's gonna be a little bit more narrow stance. Now for a wider stance, that's gonna use your hips a little bit more. You might have to sit back a lot more. So I'll show you that right here. Okay. Step, step, kind of adjust here. And toes might be a little bit more out to kind of accommodate for that more hip mobility you will need. And we're gonna sit way back, knees out, and you'll notice how much more hip dominant I am in this movement. It's okay if you hinge a little bit forward. We don't need to be totally upright. A lot of people are afraid of hinging a little bit forward, especially with a lower bar squat position, but that's actually okay. What's not okay is if your torso angle changes throughout the squat. So if you're very upright, you want to stay upright. If you hinge a little bit, you don't want to hinge anymore or make any crazy movements there. All right, guys, so now you're ready to squat. Or are you? Okay, we're not gonna just sit up here and just bang out some squats. We're gonna create tension before we squat. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna have to think about your feet. We already did all this thing about our upper body, where we're the barbell. Now we have to think about our feet and what they're doing. Okay, if you've ever squatted and you've seen someone's knees cave in, you know, here, like this, they might be lacking some mobility, but a lot of times they're just not engaging their glutes and spreading the floor. So if you've heard that key before and don't know what it means, I'm gonna show you today. Now, we want to engage your glutes. You might have seen someone with like a hip circle band around their knees, actively pressing outwards. That's what we want to pretend is happening when we're squatting. And that all starts with the feet, okay? So wherever your feet are, if they're out or in, it doesn't matter. You want to be screwing through the ground like I'm doing this, but without moving your feet. Screwing through the ground, tearing the ground apart. Let's imagine there's a crack in the ground here and I'm spreading it apart. If you do that right now and kind of sit back, you're gonna feel tension in your glutes, okay? That's gonna activate your glutes more, and that's what's gonna prevent your knees caving in like this, okay? We wanna just dive bomb our squats, especially at first. We want to reinforce good movement patterns and have good muscle activation and feel the muscles working. So eventually down the road, the squat seems like effortless, we don't have to think about it, okay? So, come under the bar. This will be the full barbell squat. We're gonna come under, nice and tight, good stance. Stand up, 1 to 3 steps, okay? We're gonna brace, which we'll definitely be going over later, and we're gonna screw through the ground, drive those knees out, even right out of the hole, okay? Make sure you finish, squeeze your butt at the top. We're driving those elbows through the whole time as well. And there you go. That is the first movement of the beginner series, the squat.